good, everybody? Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us here on Stand Up Podcast. I'm your boy, Danny Royce, and I'm here with my co-host. What's good?
Just so everyone is clear, we shoot two of these every other Sunday, so I got to change that shirt on. We need to make the people aware.
You just a dirty motherfucker. That's what that is.
Unbecoming a black man. It's all right.
From the slums of New York. No, without further ado, allow me to introduce our amazing guest today, sitting with us. He is an actor, an amazing athlete as well. We get to dig in a lot of stuff with this guy. Welcome, please, Joshua. What's good, buddy?
Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you.
Big Josh, what's good, man? You big as hell, bro.
I know, man.
First thing I said to him, too. Goddamn.
It's funny, because like, y'all ever have days y'all just feel small? Like, you bigger than the rest of like a lot of other people, but you feel small some days. Like I'm the same way. Like I wake up feeling really small some days.
Yeah.
People be like, "Oh, you big?" I'm like, nah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm used to being like the biggest in the room usually, and then I just like, damn, I feel small.
It's the athlete, man. It's the Nigerian gene.
It's that Nigerian gene. Oh, shit.
I saw that last name. I said, yeah.
We're not going to attempt to pronounce it. Yeah.
Wait,
the middle one is longer.
What is it?
Your middle
Let's
one?
do it.
Joshua Adeyeye.
It's Joshua Adetokunbo Adeyeye.
Adeyeye.
So Giannis, the basketball player, Adetokunbo, his last name is the Greek version of the Nigerian version. So we had the same
cool.
name. Adetokunbo is just the Greek version of it. But it's the same name. And it just means king born overseas or royalty born in a foreign land.
Right. Yeah. See, that's what we used to name our kids and shit before. We got crazy with these names.
Right.
Nobility. Okay. Pick up your
Honestly,
crown.
We're just gonna spin the wheel and see what happens.
So basketball. Let's talk about that. Okay. Talk about your journey of being this athlete, this star across seas. How'd you get into it, and tell us about how you fell into acting.
It's a long story, long story.
I'm just gonna put this up a little bit.
Absolutely. I come from a really strict religious background. I don't know if you ever heard of Seventh-day Adventists.
Yep.
I grew up Seventh-day Adventist.
Right,
yes.
so you know how it is.
Yes.
I grew up Seventh-day Adventist. It wasn't conducive with playing sports. I was the kid that was playing basketball till 10 o'clock at night in the driveway. It was fun. It was an escape. I didn't know how good I was actually becoming as a kid. When I was in the 8th grade, and I tried out for the junior varsity team, they were like, "Yo, this kid actually has a future. He's gonna be all right." So it was just hours of repetition. Playing in the front yard, playing on the street courts, playing in high school. It was the Seventh-day Adventist journey that kind of took me off course. So I couldn't play. For those who don't know anything about being Seventh-day Adventist, you're not allowed to play sports from Friday, in my household at least, from Friday night to Saturday night, which is the Sabbath, which is unfortunate because a lot of the AAU games were being played, a lot of the high school games were being played at that time. So I missed a lot of recruiting opportunity because of that. I was the kid that was really talented, but didn't have the recruiting to back it up. I went to, between high school and college, I went to 7 different schools.
Wow.
Damn.
By the time I got to my senior year in high school, I played a half a season in Baltimore City. I went to Coppin Academy. Or Baltimore City, a lot of really good basketball players come out of Baltimore City.
Yeah.
So if you can perform in that city, it boosts your recruiting, people take you seriously. I averaged 30 as a senior. So Maryland was looking, Georgetown was looking. I ended up going to a small Seventh-day Adventist school because of the recruiting. I don't know if you ever heard of Washington Adventist University. I ended up going there. From there, I ended up going to JUCO in Wyoming, where I got a really, really bad injury, the Kevin Ware injury. I don't know if you, the tib-fib fracture.
Oh,
Basically,
yeah.
I just snapped my leg in half.
Snapped in half, yeah. Right.
You know, at that time, I was getting recruited by Virginia Tech and all these other schools, you know, and that happened, and, you know, everyone just kind of went ghost. And it was between Evansville and Jacksonville University. Still good enough to go D1. I recovered, but I was just never the same player.
Right.
So I had a lot of resentment, man, with basketball. Up until recently, I couldn't even watch collegiate or NBA basketball because I felt robbed, you know.
Right.
But at the same time, I didn't know I was being groomed for the next step. Everything that I learned and experienced was to propel me into acting. So when that took fruit, it took fruit, you know.
Yeah.
And I took all those lessons with me. So.
Which one was first? Because you went to Germany.
Yeah, I went to Germany. So after Jacksonville University, I wasn't even planning to play professionally. I had some random agent, a couple of agents hit me up. I played really well my senior year. Wasn't expecting a whole lot. A couple of agents hit me up from overseas. One of them was a Hungarian agent who was my man. He really rocked with me those years professionally. And I went to Germany in a small town outside of Berlin called Kleinmachnow. First culture shock. First time being out the U.S., it was a culture shock. Nobody spoke English in that town, but in Berlin, everybody spoke English.
Right.
I learned a lot about being outside of the U.S. You know, a lot of Americans grew up here not knowing what it's like to be in other places and assimilate into a different culture. And I had to do that, you know, and I had a blast. I had a blast. You know, it was, Germany was a blast for me. And so from there, planned to go stay overseas, but I got an email from the Celtics. One of the scouts from the Celtics hit my agent and said, hey, we want to bring Josh in for a tryout, see if we can get him in training camp and all that. Went up there, did the tryout and all that, ended up playing. At this point in my career, you know, I felt like damaged goods because I wasn't the same player. Had so many injuries, so my confidence was low. It was really, really, really low. And ended up playing for the G League for a year. Yeah. Which was amazing to be able to do that after all the hardships and stuff like that. So in a way, I got to fulfill that professional obligation that I always wanted to do. By playing, you know, professional sports. That happened. But by that time, my mind and my heart was out of it. So I remember being on the bench one game and thinking to myself, like, this is my last game. And I was cool with that. I was cool with that, yeah.
I'm curious, before we move to your acting journey, because you're Nigerian, there's a strong African presence in Germany.
Oh, yeah.
Did you, like, from being an Americanized, if you will, Nigerian versus, I guess, a Europeanized African, how was that?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know about that.
Oh, yeah.
So there is a big African population in a lot of European places. A lot of them come from, like, the UK. It's interesting being a Black American in other countries because you are kind of glamorized. At the same time, if you don't take the time to really learn the culture, if you don't really take the time to consider where you are, even learn basic things about the language, you know, we do have this stereotype of being arrogant, you know, and I didn't want to be that. You know, I was genuinely interested in learning about the culture and stuff like that. But there's a glamorization about being a Black American, when especially being a basketball player over there. So that was interesting.
If they see a tall Black guy, like, they'll just assume you're a basketball player.
They assume you're an athlete or
a movie star,
something, rapper, movie star. Yeah, there's that. It's like America, like everyone, not everyone, but you know, a lot of in my father's family and his culture where he comes from, you go to America to make money. My dad came over, he was 22. You know, he thought money grew on trees. Honestly, like, he thought that money grew on trees. He came here to make a better life, and he didn't end up doing everything he wanted to do professionally, but you know, a lot of the family thinks he did something that wasn't in America. Being a scholar isn't glamorized.
Right. Yeah.
In
right.
other countries, when you're a professor, a doctor, a lawyer, you're a celebrity.
Exactly.
You get carted around. Over here, it's like.
It's like, oh,
Yeah, it's like,
that's
okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, okay, cool. Like,
yeah, I mean, teachers are just trying to fight
Yeah.
for wages. Good
that's
wages
it.
over
That's
here.
it. That's it. Which is interesting. It's like, it just shows what we value, you know?
Right.
Shows what we value.
That
Yeah.
part. So you fell into acting, right? First off, what was your first role?
That's funny. I can't make this up. It's been funny the way how I got here. You know, it wasn't traditional. It wasn't. I mean, I guess no one's action journey is traditional,
Right.
but it was very in the plans. You know, I'm a very spiritual man. Excuse me. So I believe that was in my cards. You know, and I had a friend who was working at an agency here. We went to high school together. Didn't really speak a word. And connected on Instagram. Long story short, she ended up being a trainer because I taught her the ropes of being a trainer. She told me to go to this school in LA. And so I ended up coming to this school. It's called New York Film Academy. It's over in NYFA, in Burbank. You know, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, we just kind of switched lives. We kind of switched lives, you know, and I ended up coming over here. She ended up being, you know, a really successful trainer where she is now. So breaking into acting, I had a little bit of like, I was a little naive to how difficult it is, you know, like to get into, because I remember being one of my first days in my master's class. The professor goes, you know, he told me, you know, you come from an area of sports where there's a specific demographic who fit this mold of being a professional athlete. There's a small pool and a small chance, and when you go from that to acting, any of us could be actors going out for the same role. So now the pool is here, so the chances are slimmer, you know. And I didn't really understand that, you know, until I got in. And I'm thankful I was a little naive to a lot of things about the business before I came, because it would have deterred me from coming, honestly. And I came with hopes to be authentic and to be a craftsman. And that was the motivation.
Gotcha. I mean, you've always liked film.
Yes.
So what was one of the big motivators for you that you've seen growing up or what have you?
I always gravitated to film, TV, movies. I was one of those people. I wasn't going to survive working a 9-to-5.
Right.
I mean, I grew up. I did pre-med my first year of college. I was going to be an accountant. I was transitioning I wanted to go to law school. I wanted to do all these things. I didn't really know what I wanted to do outside of sports.
All things African, by the way. Accountant,
Right.
pre-med, lawyer.
Yes, all that. And you're not taken seriously as an artist until you actually make a significant living. Then it's like, oh, okay, now he's okay.
Right.
That's a whole nother thing, having an African father.
Right.
But, man, whoa. I forgot the train of thought.
What was he talking about?
Always being into
I love the idea of waking up and being something different. That is interesting to me.
Yes.
That's gets my mind, my wheels churning to dive into different realities. You know, what is a firefighter like? You know, what is if I was a robber, you know, a bank robber, you know, what if I was a coach? What if I was a Navy SEAL? You know, I wanted to explore all these areas instead of just being one. And that was interesting to me, and that's what drew me into acting. It was the psychological tapping into of what the character was, whatever the character may be. Yeah.
How did your family take it when you started that? We could go into that a little bit.
I come from an African family and a Seventh-day Adventist family, right?
Yeah,
So
two things.
my dad, it was interesting. Me and my father, we had a battle. We battled over basketball. You know, we had our bumps in the road as a father and son. He wanted me to take school seriously. He didn't really see the value of being an athlete, you know. So by the time I decided I wanted to be an actor, he was a little more open than the rest of my family. The rest of my family said, Los Angeles, you're gonna get caught up in X, Y, Z, you know, you're gonna lose yourself, you know, and I'm like, you know, God's everywhere, you know, why wouldn't he be in LA? You know?
Right.
So that's what my mind was. I'd always been that kid in the family that was gonna do what he wanted to do, not out of rebellion, but because it was just what my heart was pulling me to do. I've always acted on my impulses and my urges, and moved in a way that was authentic to myself. And whatever my heart was telling me to go, that's where I went.
Right.
And it worked out for me. So I didn't have any fear.
Yeah.
I didn't have any fear about that.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're grounded with who you are and stay true to who you are, like you said, you can make it anywhere. I mean,
100%.
LA is LA, yeah.
100%.
Tons of distractions, tons of shit, but you know, you can stay
Everything's
focused.
mindset.
Everything is mindset.
Everything is mindset.
So, working with Tyler Perry, okay, Ruthless, great job, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a very good show at the Oval. Tell us how that process was for you auditioning, and how has working with him changed your life?
Wow. 4 months being into my master's program, I had to tell this story, you know. 4 months into me doing my master's program, I'm in the gym. A guy, one of my good friends that now, you know, I didn't really know him at the time, comes up to me, and I came to LA as a very, like, skeptical person. You know, I wasn't caught up in all the glitz and the glamour, you know. I wanted to stay true to myself, and I didn't want to deal with any extracurricular bullshit. Yeah, we'll say that.
That bullshit.
So I got approached. A guy was like, "You're an actor. I'm sure this happens to a lot of people here." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Didn't really know much about it. Right. He's like, "Do you have a headshot?" I was like, "Yeah, I got a headshot." Didn't have a headshot. But my friend from DC was in town the same weekend. He was a photographer. The same weekend this guy asked me for a headshot. I didn't even know. One of my friends told me. So I hit him up and I was like, "Yo, I need some headshots. Can we get something done real quick?" It was like Sunday morning. This is 9 a.m. Get some headshots. Send it to the guy. End up in a casting office or casting room. Never auditioned. This is before self-tapes were really a thing. So I memorized 16 pages of dialogue. I walk into the room. I didn't expect Tyler to be there. He was there, and I forgot all my lines on the spot. And I was instructed to stand on the X and run the lines. Luckily, I was just like, let me just pull them out and just read from it and just be in character. You know, that's all I knew at that moment.
And this is in LA.
This is in LA. This is in LA. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about anything. You know what I mean? And I walked out of the audition. I was like, "Thank you. I appreciate your time." And that was it. I wasn't expecting nothing. I was like, "That was a great experience. Awesome. I still got time in school to learn."
Right.
A friend calls me and said, "Oh, congrats. You got a part." I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, you got a part on Ruthless. I was like, "What?" So I got written into the script as a character. Like all the other characters were casted. But he saw something in me and wrote me into the script. And basically it was like tryouts, you know, first season guest star, second season recurring, and third season, you know, he was like, "Okay, series regular." Then that led to the Oval because they're intertwined. And he changed my life, He changed my life. You know, I didn't know. his formula.
Right.
A lot of people, when they work with him or when they start with him, he shoots at a phenomenally fast rate that a lot of people aren't really comfortable with.
Right.
And that was boot camp for me. I learned how to shoot on the fly and improvise and yeah, it had to be creative, you know, and that's what I got used to that.
Right.
And so going to do other things, it was like, oh, we going to do what? 4 hours of this scene? Cool. That's awesome. That's like a walk in the park, you know? So yeah, that's how I learned.
I was just about to ask, like, because you said you was 4 months in, then you got the casting. So you didn't finish New York film?
I did.
You did?
I did.
Okay.
I did. My dad always preached completion, you know? So I wanted to complete that, get my master's while I came out here.
Right.
Even at that time, it wasn't solidified that I was going to be anything more than that little part. So I couldn't just be like, oh, I made it in quick school. It's it wasn't wise to do. I stuck in school because there was so much more I wanted to learn that I needed to learn about the craft.
You know, now that you mention it, I love that you said that it was boot camp for you, because how you had that boot camp experience of shooting on a fly that fast, and now you go into other projects and you can 4 hours is nothing.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of theater actors feel. It's like, oh, we can memorize this. You know, we memorize a whole play.
Yes.
We going into this film or whatever. We got it on lock. So and then Tyler, he obviously came from the stage.
Yes.
So I have a new, I guess, perspective on that. Because at first I was like, when I heard a fall from grace shot in 5 days, I said, whoa. I'm not gonna lie, I said, whoa. But that like you said, it's a boot camp for you.
Yes, and the actors know that. The crew knows that. This man is brilliant. I got a chance to, because before I met, we haven't really talked about Tyler. Like before I met him, I just thought he was the guy in the dress. That's what I thought. I thought he was just Medea. I didn't realize his influence. I didn't realize the genius. I didn't even know he had a studio or had studios. You know, I had met him at a time where I just missed the studio opening. I didn't really know anything about it. You know, I come up to the studio. It's the biggest studio in the nation. You know, bigger than, you know, Universal, Warner Brothers, all these. You can put them on the lot, and it's crazy what a black man has been able to do in this industry. He has carved his own path.
Kevin Hart actually mentioned that. He said when it comes to the conversation of black entrepreneurs, millionaires, billionaires, Tyler Perry for some reason left out. We got Jay-Z, Sean Combs, but he's somehow left out. But that's true.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to forget that. Working with him and having a chance to know him, there's a select few that really know what this man is capable of, what he's done for this industry, what he's done for people of color. It's undeniable. It's undeniable, and if you know, you know. You know what I mean? If you know, you know. It's really something. It's really something.
That's what's up. Yeah, I have quite a few friends that, you know, was blessed to work with him. And, you know, I hear about the same thing, you know, the hard work, the vision, the fast pace. It's incredible. I feel like also, you know, what do you think of, speaking to both of y'all, all right, who do you think of when you type in, current black actors? Who do you think is going to be the first one to pop up, or the first two?
Will Smith is probably going to be one of them. Current black actors?
So,
I mean...
So more so not really Denzel's going to pop up.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan.
Right now.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan, definitely. Who else?
Now Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, he's up there. I like...
Lakeith.
I like John Boyega. A lot of these British actors, they are phenomenal. Like... They're like chameleons, and the way they can shift accents. That's one thing. Like a lot of American actors, like we're not as proficient in. They can shift in and out of accents and like I was watching. I'm a Nigerian, so I know what Nigerians sound like. And when I watched some of these guys, when I watched Woman King and I saw the way he was nailing that accent, I was like, yo, this is a craftsman here.
Like
this is a craftsman.
Yeah, his accent was way better than Viola Davis. I love Viola. But you could hear Viola coming in. And I was like, and only so many people that know her. But yeah, it was spot on. But let's talk about that, because I mean, there are different viewpoints. You know, some people say they work harder. Some people say, you know, they just get taught different things. So do you feel like they're, quote unquote, stealing a lot of black people, black Americans roles?
There's still a lot of roles for us.
Stealing a lot of black American
I believe
roles.
that. I believe just across the board, a lot of British actors are stealing our jobs. Period. Like Henry Cavill, like he's British. And I don't even know if it's stealing. It's just there's a dedication to the craft there for them. For here, a lot of times I feel like popularity is glamorized.
Yep.
It's not about who's the best for the role. It's like what does this person bring in with all their fan base to this project?
Exactly.
Which is unfortunate sometimes for the people who are really, really, really talented.
Right.
But for them, they're just really good. They're just really good,
really
man.
good.
And that's the way it should be. If you are cut out for the job, you should do it.
I don't like the word, you know, like I said, quote unquote stealing, because I mean, first off, you can't steal something that wasn't yours in the first place. But yeah, it just kind of, I don't know. It's an interesting discussion because I also, you know, are like, they're just better actors, but it's also what's making you a better actor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
What's the process you're going through? You know, what are your values? What is you actually setting out to be? Just famous, get rich, or are you actually about the craft?
Because I would get old quickly.
Exactly.
Longevity. I feel like you're talking about acting, sports, business, whatever. You know, when you touch your first, like when you have that first touch of success, that feels good to a lot of people. They feel like they've made it, but it's really about the long game. It's like, how do I do this over and over and over and over again? You know what I mean? So, and that's how, I feel like that's how you sustain a career in this business. You know, it's like, it's one thing to be good looking. It's one thing to be like popular at this time, but it's like, okay, I remember being in school and they used to preach these things too. That's your way in.
Yeah.
The way you look and what you bring is your way in. Now it's about being good and honing in on that craft, you know, because that's how you sustain a career.
I got into a huge argument on Clubhouse over, it was, you know, British actors and American actors. And I said that there's a generic, not every single black American or American, but there's a generic laziness that exists in the foundations of America in the sense that Hollywood is here. So those outside in different countries, that's all they're gunning for. So for us, again, not everybody, but for us, it's like, because it's here, you know, there's just kind of a slow pace and moving. It's not that much hunger for it. Or even if there's sometimes a hunger, sometimes it could just be a little lackadaisical. It's just from an immigrant experience or standpoint, it's like, this, if I don't go here, I'm going to die.
It's a privilege.
You know, so, So, like, for British actors, there seems to be, you know, one can say Shakespeare training, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But because, quote unquote, Hollywood, and a lot of them, they have beef. They said, no, we'd rather stay in the UK if they had more UK-based shows.
I agree that, because I don't know if you guys, like, I love the BBC. Like, that
Peaky
network,
Blinders?
that I binged it. There's not a lot of shows that I binge. But that network and these British shows are phenomenal, man. Like, I watch Top Boy from start to finish, Peaky Blinders. Like, a lot of the shows I watch are they're from that network.
Yeah.
Because, number one, it's just really well written. And it's really good acting. It's just really good acting,
really
you
good
know?
acting. Really
And there
good
is something to... There is just something to training. Like... A lot of really good actors come from theater. You know, over here it's
Glitz, glam.
It is, and it's like you don't need to be. There's a lot of technical training, but I remember I did one play in college, and it was a Harold Pinter play, and I don't know if you guys know anything about it, but it's really hard to break down the verbiage. You know, there's this wording. It's from a different time. It's an English author, but we had to dissect that. And I understood how these actors who've done these plays over and the preparation you need, the memorization and the homework you need to do these plays. I mean, it's really, they have that and they come here and they knock these roles out.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. So, with that being said, I want to go over to the current discussion for today. You want me to start off or you got it, Mike?
Kyrie Irvin. Let's just go right there.
Let's just go with it.
Oh boy.
I feel like that, just saying his name, just everything that's been going on with you, especially from a basketball player.
From a basketball player's point of view. I mean,
it's tricky business to mix the profession. You know what? This is heavy. Nowadays, especially, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people do have to walk on eggshells. But it's tricky to mix your personal opinion with being in the limelight and what you're doing as professionally. I feel like it's hard to do. I personally feel like it's hard to do. From a human standpoint, I understand, some of the things that's said, but we live in a climate where, especially after, all the, Kanye West stuff, it's just, you just got to know when to say certain things and when to just leave it, and just leave it alone.
But then it's like, do you run into that question of, I mean, okay, so this is what we preach, this is what we advertise.
Yeah.
Land of the free, home of the brave, freedom of speech, freedom of this, that, and other. But then if you're constantly, and speaking of some truth to something, and we're in this cancel culture, and let's be honest, like, I can say anti-Semitic, right? But I'll guarantee you, 80% of the people I ask won't know what that means.
They won't know what that means.
They'll just be like, you just say something against Jewish
Yeah.
people. But that's not what anti-Semitic is.
Yeah. It's not.
There's a whole anti-Semitic, or there's a whole Semitic culture, whole Semitic languages, people from all different Arabs, everything. So it entails a lot more. But my thing is just like, when is it going to stop where there's this double standard where we can't say shit, but they can. Anyone can. And you can't speak against a group of people. You can speak against us and call us dogs, girls, all these things, but we can't say something against someone else.
We live,
whether it be true or not.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, and I've had this conversation with a couple of people. We live in a time and in a place where the truth is what's the word? Provocative almost. By telling the truth, you're provoking people. Like, people they want to hear what feels good. They want to hear what pushes their narrative, what's socially acceptable. If you speak truth or something that's contrary to what is popular and flowing, you risk being canceled. Yeah. And, and unfortunately, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. On a professional level, when we are in a business where it's run by whites and Jews, and you say certain things, I mean, there's gonna be pushback.
Of course,
there's gonna be pushback from that.
I don't think he said anything where he didn't think it was going to be. It's not going to be pushback.
Yeah.
It's just how you prepare for that.
Yeah.
And just like we saw with Kaepernick. It's just like, what, you either stand for something, you stand for nothing. So. And
I appreciate him for that, because he's always been a person that he's been controversial. He's a craftsman, number one, but he has been controversial. But a lot of things he believes in are true to him. They're true to him, and that's his truth, and he doesn't step away from that. And I respect that. I respect that 100%. Anyone who's able to do that and risk the ridicule and the controversy, I respect it. 100%.
And not hurting people. It's not, you're not physically hurting people. But with that being said, I want to go over to our last segment, stand up. All right. So being that, you're quite familiar with Tyler Perry now. You weren't before. There's gonna be some questions about Tyler Perry.
Oh boy.
You ready for it? All right.
I may not know all these.
Mr. Perry, I hope you're watching. All right, here we go. First question. Where was Tyler Perry born? And these are all multiple choice. Okay. Atlanta, Chicago,
Louisiana, New Orleans.
There you go. Good job. All right, second one. Who prompted Tyler Perry to keep a diary of his daily thoughts and experiences?
Oprah.
There you go. I didn't think you needed multiple choice for that one. I was like, I hope you don't.
Yeah, no.
All right. What was the name of Tyler Perry's 1992 musical? All right. Diary of a Mad Black Woman, I Can Do Bad All By Myself, or I Know I've Changed. I know I've been changed.
Musical.
Yep. 1992.
Was
One of the
it?
oldest
I
ones.
Know I've Been Changed.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
3 for 3. Last one. All right, here we go. Oh, this is a good one. All right. When did Tyler Perry's first feature film, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, debut? 2001, 2005, or 2009?
05.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
4 for 4. There you go. You got your black card.
Right. And my job.
There you go. You keep your job. 4 for 4. You kept your job. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
man. Joshua, it's been a
Yeah, it's
pleasure
been a
having
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
For
Have
sitting
fun.
chilling with us for a little bit. Go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you and if you got something coming up.
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at Joshua Adeyeye _ upcoming projects, Ruthless the second half of season 4 is coming out December 8th.
Hey.
The Oval season 5 is out now, and I'm working on I'm going into production soon on a Tyler Perry movie for Netflix. We hasn't cast the lead woman yet. Can't say too much about the role, but yeah.
Keep a lookout.
Come on with it.
There we go.
Come on
Hey,
with
Mike.
it. You can find me at life.with.mike on Instagram, and that is it.
Yes, sir. And that is it. And you can find me everywhere. I am Danny Royce. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Stand Up. Later. You got the Ricky Lake music right here.